Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to this, very quick edition of War Week Radio. Guys, my name is Joseph Herron of FightSaga.com. Guys, as always, these segments are brought to you by FightSaga.com for all latest boxing news. Ladies and gentlemen, please go visit FightSaga.com on the daily. And the reason we're actually doing this very quick segment is to address the surrounding controversy post-fight, or the 10th round specifically, of Lewis Ritson being stopped by Jeremias Ponce in the 10th round. On this last edition of War Week Radio with James Gogi, we didn't really talk about this controversy because we didn't feel there was any. So we're going to talk about everything, and we're going to discuss why there shouldn't be a controversy. And here's what happened. Once again, what happened this past Saturday, and this was an IBF junior welterweight IBF title eliminator at the Virtue Motors Arena in Newcastle, England, this past Saturday, June 12th. And once again, the favored, and I don't know why he was favored, Lewis Ritson, 12-2 with 12 KOs, was competing against undefeated Argentine Jeremias Ponce, who had a record coming into this fight at 27-0 with 17 knockouts. We didn't even talk about this fight leading up to it because we felt, well, it was kind of a mismatch, regardless of what the sports books said in England. We just thought that Jeremias Ponce was going to easily beat him. Tough pressure fighter on the inside. Lewis Ritson, the tough guy, doesn't have huge power, and likes to keep everything from mid to long range. Thought it was a mismatch, and it was. So, guys, what's the controversy about? Well, apparently in the 10th round, everyone seems to be up in arms. That referee, Steve Gray, threw out the towel when a towel was thrown in by his head trainer and father to call a halt to the bout. Everyone is reacting like, oh, Steve Gray did something wrong. I've heard even promoter Eddie Herron was disgusted by it and even used the word disgusted. Oh, gosh, Steve Gray, we're going to talk about, and I've heard radio shows talking about this. Oh, we're going to talk about the disgusting behavior of Steve Gray. Was it? Well, let's examine this, guys. Now, once again, let's go back to the 10th round. Once again, this is Jeremia Ponce bludgeoning Lewis Ritson for 10 whole rounds leading up to this point, or 9 whole rounds leading up to this point. So let's go to the 10th round. After getting floored by a body shot, right, at the 241 mark of the 10th round, Lewis Ritson beat the count, and he clearly tells referee Steve Gray that he wants to continue. 5 seconds later, his dad throws in a towel to call a halt to the bout. Well, you obviously go back and look at the footage. You obviously see Lewis Ritson disgusted, and he seemed like he wanted to continue. Third man in the ring looked at him and said, "You want to continue?" He said, "Yes." So what's the problem? Third man in the ring then rejected the towel and allowed the fight to continue. Ritson gets floored 2 additional times within the next minute, and then Steve Gray mercifully finally called a halt to the bout at the 146 mark of round 10. Again, what's the problem? The ABC rules of boxing clearly states that a referee, and only the referee, has the authority to call a halt to the bout at any time. Not the ringside physician, not the chief second, and not even the fighter. Referee has the authority, and only the referee has the authority to call a halt to the bout at any time. That's the way it is. Now, excuse me, I've never seen, guys. Now, if a ringside physician examines a fighter and says, no, you need to stop the fight, I've never seen a referee go against a ringside physician's recommendation, as he shouldn't, right? But guys, the referee is the one who has his face right there in the action. He's seeing what's going on. He's talking to the fighter. Now, if his dad can't take seeing his son, well, receiving any more punishment, close your eyes. Maybe this sport isn't for you. Because your son, the fighter, the one in the ring, okay, he wants to continue. So I don't see where he did anything wrong. Oh, such disgusting behavior from referee Steve Gray. That was appalling. He should have his license revoked. Okay. So this is what Eddie Hearn had to say about what transpired in round number 10 of Ritson versus Ponce. He said this, quote, the referee has the right to reject the towel being thrown in, but I honestly don't think they should have that right, quite frankly, because that's really putting a fighter in danger. No one knows the fighter better than the corner. No one knows the conversations that have gone on in that corner other than the fighter and his team. So when the towel gets thrown in by the corner, in this instance, his father, you can't throw it back out of the ring. In my opinion, the referee should not have that responsibility. End quote. Okay, once again, guys, let's go through this. Body shot from Ponce. Okay, floors Lewis Ritson at the 241 mark of round number 10. Sends him to the canvas. Ritson clearly beats the count. And he's asked by the referee in charge if he wants to continue. He says yes. The fight continues with 2:29 left on the clock. Then the corner throws in the towel at the 2:24 mark. Ritson looks disgusted. He throws his hands down, looks at his dad, and he complains. So referee Steve Gray allows the fight to continue, throws out the towel. Ritson goes down for a second time at the 2:01 mark and beats the count. And you can see him after this clearly telling the ref that he wants to continue. Fight resumes at the 146 mark. Ritson then goes down for a third and final time at the 135 mark. And the referee then doesn't even bother counting. He just steps in and calls a halt to the contest. So once again, guys, what is the problem? The referee in charge did the right thing here. He did nothing wrong. This was an opportunity to potentially face Josh Taylor for the IBF title. Of course, he'd have to defeat, well, a real badass like Subriel Matias in a final eliminator later this year to go fight Josh Taylor, and that's a big F. But guys, this is why these hardworking, brave combatants train so meticulously for weeks. And more to the point, this is why they get paid a lot of money. They train their asses off to endure the rigors of battle. I'll bet you Deontay Wilder, if he were watching that fight, I'll bet you he wish he had Steve Gray as his referee in the rematch with Tyson Fury. Of course, he probably would have still gotten knocked out, but that's not the point. Point is, and people, and he blamed Mark Breland for throwing in the towel, and he shouldn't have, because the rules clearly state the referee is the only man who has the authority to call a halt to the bout at any time. Not the corner, not the assistant trainer, not the chief second, not the ringside physician. The referee. Right? Guys, I don't see anything wrong with this. I mean, think about, guys, this is why we watch. Think about all your favorite moments in boxing, in the greatest rounds that you can think of, the most memorable, time capsule classic rounds of action. What made those so special in your mind? Well, I can tell you, it's when a fighter has to overcome adversity. He gets up off the canvas, dusts himself off, or gets hurt clearly, battles back, and wins the fight. Creating that drama. That's why we watch. Guys, I hate to say this, but most fans tune in to potentially see that kind of drama. They love to see that kind of action. You can't script that kind of drama, guys. And it only happens in one sport, boxing. That's why we watch. Aren't you glad Tony Weeks didn't call a halt to the bout when officiating Diego Corrales versus Jose Luis Castillo in the 10th round? When he got knocked out and took out his mouthpiece? Aren't you glad he didn't disqualify him or call a halt to the bout? Because then the world would have been deprived of that magical ending. Aren't you glad Frank Cappuccino didn't call a halt to the bout and Gatti Ward won in the 9th round? Possibly the greatest round that we'll ever see in our lifetime, when Arturo Gatti clearly turns his back in the corner. Aren't you glad Frank Cappuccino didn't stop it? Guys, this is why we watch. Okay? And if it's not why you watch, well, maybe boxing isn't for you. Maybe women's tennis is more your action. So I'm sorry, guys. I see nothing wrong with this. And once again, let's go back to the most recent big fight in which something like this happened, right? Let's go back to 2010 when Yuri Foreman defended his WBA junior middleweight title against Miguel Cotto, right? Let's look at that. That was, let's look at that. Foreman, if you remember, had a knee brace, right? And his knee was buckling all night because of the pressure that Miguel Cotto was putting on him, right? In the 7th round, he slips and falls and his knee buckles. He gets back to his feet, but he looks obviously not on healthy legs. He falls a few more times from his knee giving out, with Cotto beginning to come on and land to the body and head. Foreman's trainer, Joe Greer, throws a towel in the midway through the 8th round. Naturally, the ring fills, both camps and officials. Everyone comes in the ring thinking that the fight's over. Cotto and Foreman even embraced, believing it was over. But referee Arthur McCanty Jr. asked Yuri Foreman if he wanted to continue. Yuri Foreman, like a champion, says, "Of course, I'm still fighting." Okay, so Arthur McCanty took control of that situation, cleared the ring, and after a delay of a couple minutes, the fight resumes with half the round remaining in the 8th, right? Well, Cotto goes on to beat him up, floors him again in the 9th round. And this time, Arthur McCanty noticeably sees that Yuri Foreman can no longer stand on 2 legs, and he calls a halt to the bout in the 8th round, right? Did Arthur McCanty do the right thing? Of course, absolutely. Look, guys, these fighters, that's what they train for. They're warriors. Let them go out on their shield. Okay? And if you don't like it and don't want to see it, then don't. Go watch WWE. Go watch NBA. Less contact than that. Right? Guys, these guys, they take so much punishment and wear and tear in the gym to prepare themselves for these kinds of situations. Now, if his dad felt like he didn't train his son properly, well, yeah, maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't train him and prepare him properly for this kind of fight. Okay, that's on him. But don't get upset with Steve Gray. Referee Steve Gray did the right thing. Eddie Hearn and all these little sissy babies who are complaining that the ref should have stopped the fight when the towel came in. Steve Gray did the right thing, guys. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you for tuning in. Later on today, we're going to be speaking with my brother. Let's see. Mr. IOTBA, thank you, brother, for joining us, my friend. But yeah, this is once again, I don't see where anyone did anything wrong here. Right? Steve Gray did a great job. He did the right thing. Hats off to you, brother. That's why we watch the sport. Okay, we want to see these fights play out the way they're supposed to. Okay, we love to see referees allow the fight play out to its natural conclusion, not depriving fans of its drama. Guys, this is why they make big money, and this is why we tune in. We don't tune in just to see two guys stand in front of each other looking like they're afraid to throw punches. Okay? Like we saw on ESPN that same evening in Vegas with Shakur Stevenson versus Nakatila. Guys, we love drama. That's why we watch. That's why we're diehard fight fans. So my hat's off to you, Steve Gray. God bless you guys. And once again, let me know in the comments what you guys think. And please subscribe to War Week Radio, bookmark FightSaga.com. And if you're feeling charitable, please donate to the official War Week Radio Cash App listed in the video below. God bless everyone. Have a wonderful Tuesday afternoon.